One of the things that came up recently was the fact that the application for the PPP could be considered part of the Freedom of Information Act. And if that's the case, could there be confidential information from the applicants being disclosed? John and Chuck, you want to comment on that?
Yeah, on that borrower application on the very back, it speaks of that, the Freedom of Information Act. The SBA does disclose information, but it's not social security numbers. It's not clearly detailed.
Okay.
John, anything on the Freedom of Information Act from you?
They are registering. They are going to use that in case people want to know. So these are available on the Freedom of Information Act.
And what type of information would be available?
We normally don't give out we're allowed to give the borrower's name, how much they got, how many employees they have, and the city and state where they are. We're not allowed to give out much more than that.
Okay. So, but name and number of employees, but it wouldn't be financial statements or anything like that.
No, certainly not that.
Okay.
Just disclosing what the agency has done for borrowers and the
Gotcha.
type of industry.
Gotcha. So Scott, we talked a little bit the other day about this. How could Congress further influence the implementation of PPP and the clarity around it, the I guess demonstration of additional funding, so what could the business owners do to push Congress to really help them in a lot of them a fight for their lives?
No, absolutely. And that's what we're starting to see right now is I would encourage anyone that has this technical expertise in seeing, when I was up on the Hill, I always wanted to hear folks on the ground. There's enough folks in DC that speak in generalities, but I want to actually hear the problems that folks are dealing with on a day-to-day basis. So I would encourage folks to engage with your Congress people, to engage with your senators, and let them know. It's right now they're kind of working remotely, obviously, but letting them know, hey, these are the concerns I'm having. It can be emails to the staffers into their system. They're still watching their mail systems. As far as Congress acting, absolutely, I think funding is going to be a big priority moving forward. They may also, to your point when we were talking about different partnerships for physicians or lawyers, do we expand the program? Did we somehow leave some individuals and businesses out of the picture? And now that we've taken care of a large group of small businesses, how do we maybe expand to other borrowers that are out there? So I think that's going to be a significant debate, but they're only going to do that is if they hear from people saying that they don't have access to this capital. And I think going back to the other point of seasonality, especially I can only imagine if you're in the travel and tourism industry, who's going to start going on vacation? They just struggled to get through, the last couple of months, and then they feel comfortable enough to start doing travel again. Those industries are going to be lagging behind everyone else. So there may be industry specific relief that's out there for certain sectors of the economy as we move forward. So I think that's something worth thinking about, but that people should engage with their elected officials.
Yeah, and Scott, like I said at the beginning of this session, the partners and directors and managers in our firm at Citron Cooperman, we have been in the weeds 12, 18 hours a day with our clients trying to help them with this. And I don't have to say it to anybody in an unprecedented time when they're literally fighting for their financial lives. And it's much different when you're on the ground in the weeds and dealing with this. It's very stressful, it's exhausting, and the outpouring of the people in our firm has just been incredible. It's having 30 and 40 people on a call at midnight to try to understand everything so you can be ready at 6:30 a.m. when your clients are asking more questions about the latest news. That's what's going on, and I'm sure it's going on all across businesses and professionals, that attorneys and accountants that advise their clients on financial matters. But it is something. I've been in this business for 35 years. I've never seen anything like this ever. Chuck, one of the things, and this is for John, you might want to jump in, anybody jump in on this, but the application includes a certification, and I'll just quote it, that current economic uncertainty makes this loan request necessary to support its ongoing operations. There's been a lot of questions about how is that defined. I mean, one could argue at one side of the argument that means bankruptcy if the loan is not received. Now, I'm sure that's not what the criteria is, but with the fact that these certifications include threats of fines and imprisonment, and I understand we talked a little bit before about, you don't want somebody to take a loan out and buy a boat, but it's a little bit nerve-wracking that there's really not a definition of that. It's not very well defined, so I'd like to throw that out to the group and get your comments on that.
Well, Mark, this is Chuck. I think Scott or Alex had said earlier that this program is designed to get access to capital out quickly. And some of the rules and regulations have been vague purposely. And so I think this speaks on the intent of the program, as to the intent is to get money out the door to people that need it. And if in fact people take advantage of that and are using it for boats or whatever the reason is, then that kind of leaves some recourse for Treasury to go back and say, no, you're going to pay this back. And so I think it just speaks on the nature of the program and what the intent is, leaving it vague just in case they find there are abuses.
Great, thanks. Scott or John or Alex, any adding to that, or you think that kind of sums it up?
Yeah, this is Scott. I'll just say that I agree that the reason why everything is so broad is if you start providing so much specificity, then you would provide guidance to certain business owners to not apply, that they wouldn't qualify. And so that clearly is not the intent. The intent is if you need it, you basically can have access to it. And if that's why everything is so broad. So I would back up everything that Chuck just mentioned and keep that in the back of your head as you're helping your clients apply, is that the reason why everything is so wishy-washy out there is because they want to have as much flexibility that they're not excluding certain businesses.
Gotcha, great.